Warner Brothers, New Line, and MGM? That's like half the studios! Here's Smaug, pissed off at the dwarves, taking everything out on the townspeople of Lake Town for some reason. So 3 more passes and this town is done, right? Something tells me the movie will find a way to make it last longer, or even stop it. I'm glad the mayor Dick isn't getting away with the gold, but you're telling me the good guy prisoner dude had a window on only one side but still somehow knew exactly when to drop the makeshift noose for the passing boat? Also, was this Bard's plan when he started making this rope? I'll ease it out the window and then that fat-ass mayor guy will run right into it. And he'll get pinned to the boat and it'll rip out the wall of my cell. Easy peasy. If this wasn't his plan, what was the plan? Nearly the entire town is on fire, but thankfully the armory was spared. After clearly devastating the town, Smaug continues his assault on the people who did him no wrong, so that Bard has a chance to find his video game weak spot. Meanwhile, this giant tower, which, if I were a dragon, I'd have destroyed immediately just for its pleasure to burn value, continues to go unburned. It's almost like Bard is in a video game. The dragon has several powers that could end this now, but decides to give him chance after chance.
Who are you that would stand against me?
I don't know, man, but seems like you could just kill him by the time I snap my fingers. Why isn't this working?
You cannot save him from the fire. He will burn.
Burn him already! Yay, he killed the dragon. The Bard and his son survived this. Dragon poetically falls on the town mayor who was trying to slip off with all the gold. Also, you teased this whole big thing with Smaug at the end of the last movie, only to have him take a couple fire-breathing passes at Lake Town and then die like a chump-ass?
The ravens of Erebor are returning to the mountain.
Not even 10 seconds after the dragon died? Those are some attentive-ass ravens. How long has Gandalf been in this cage? What if he has to pee? Has he had any food at all? I sure am glad they spent all this time on this love story. It turned this B-list dwarf into like only the 3rd dwarf I can remember in this movie.
Ranged.
We expect this bullshit now ex machina.
Where's the master?
Halfway down the Anduin.
How is it that random townsfolk number 1 saw Bard slay the dragon, but absolutely no one was around to see the dragon fall on the master of Lake Town? You mean to tell me that there are several people in the background here that didn't notice an upteen-ton dragon falling on the master?
Will nobody think of the children?
I'm pretty sure this is a Simpsons episode.
Won't somebody please think of the children?
This dwarf notices something he can't possibly notice, hundreds of feet below, and at an angle that is not conducive to noticing things. Just so they can run down and see how crazy Thorn has become.
Gold. Gold beyond measure.
They said he's been down here for days, but is conveniently rambling this exposition just as the other dwarves show up. Bilbo pulls out the Arkenstone to assure the audience that he has it, but this is not a wise move in general, and I'm racking my brain trying to figure out what good it does for his character to whip it out like that.
You might smell a bit of dragon. The women can clean now.
That's racist. And why are you still alive and not in prison? Also, did we discount Grim of Wormtongue this asshole last movie? Because I don't even care if we did. He's getting another one.
What gold is in that mountain is cursed. We will take only what was promised to us.
Because that gold is not cursed.
Kelin Winiath o Adarlin. Kani Hidan Winith Nale. Tolo Tauriel. Hirnin Lenan Tauriel.
I decided to keep that from both of you until it was dramatic enough to reveal. Is future Sauron keeping these super powerful wizards alive for some reason? Wow, good thing Galadriel decided to show up just when this orc decided he'd had enough of Gandalf being lazy in his cage. When you see Galadriel do this, you realize what a selfish elf she's been throughout both trilogies. She had all this power to help people out, and here's the only time she uses her power ever. You know why? Because Gandalf needed her, that's why. Sauron introduces himself via the Lord of the Rings masturbation poem.
I am not alone.
Because Elrond and Saruman were sitting around twiddling their thumbs while I saved Gandalf. Elrond and Saruman apparently have the ability to strike ghosts with their physical weapons. And since these ghosts are the ring wraiths in Lord of the Rings, I don't quite understand where they go after they get hit. Do they become extra ghosts or something? We have just enough power to be scary. Stabbing! Ghost soldiers! Excitement? Literal Eye of Sauron shows up here, making much of the previous trilogy's first movie seem kinda stupid. But whatever. Bilbo! Galadriel shows 2 superpowered wizards what real power looks like, completely undermining their power in the LOTR trilogy and making me wonder why she did nothing to help in that entire 3-movie war against Sauron. I mean, she totally banished that asshole right here. In the original trilogy, she was like, here's some elf trinkets, fare thee well.
Go back to the void from whence you came!
Phew, glad that little problem with Sauron is over.
Without the Ring of Power, Sauron can never again.
So, you knew about the Ring of Power and knew his name was Sauron here, but Gandalf still needs to stop years later upon reaching for the ring to go and research what the the ring is and F you, Peter Jackson! You didn't even watch your own goddamn movies!
Her strength is failing. take her to Lothlorien.
where she'll stay for 60 years, earning a reputation as an elf witch of terrible power, who decides not to ask any questions about Sauron ever again.
He must be hunted down and destroyed once and for all. Without the Ring of Power, Sauron can never again hold dominion over Middle-earth.
Okay, good enough for me. I won't follow up with any inquiries until it's too late.
I need a horse.
I need just one goddamn shot in this movie that doesn't look like a painting got jizzed on by the sun. How did 10 years pass, but Weta got worse at visual effects?
I came to reclaim something of mine. There are gems in the mountain that I too desire.
What? How did elf gems get into the Lonely Mountain? Wasn't this just a mining colony? Someone either stole these things and brought them here, and the elves never fought to get them back, or someone brought them here and said, you know what, you have more gold than will ever be necessary in life. How about some gems? And poured them out onto a sea of treasure.
My people also have a claim upon the riches in that mountain.
Well, that's you, the elves, and the dwarves. Only 2 more armies to go before we have a movie that matches its title.
Begone! Ere our arrows fly!
Okay, maybe this is argumentative, but isn't this a clear case where the non-Thorin dwarves could talk some sense into this guy? And remove him from power if he continues to have a treasure boner that clouds his thoughts?
Begone!
The fuck? He's barely 30 seconds ride from the gate, but these assholes have all come up to the balcony already? God damn this movie. Jesus, absolutely nothing matters. You know what Peter Jackson doesn't do enough of? Weapons handing off and gearing up for war montages.
The Arkenstone. One of them has taken it.
Why is Thorne so certain one of his fellow dwarves have taken the Arkenstone, and his paranoia hasn't focused on Bilbo, the guy who was in the treasure room longer than anyone? Yeah, he's underestimating it, but seems like a guy who is out of his mind would accuse everybody of stealing, especially a burglar. Also, if one of his fellow dwarfs did take it, then what? Don't they have all the power? Why wouldn't they use it right now?
This is the gateway to reclaiming the lands of Angmar in the north.
Sounds important. Too bad I don't know what it means. Earlier, Legolas was talking about how important this Gundabad place was when it came to Angmar. Now the Lonely Mountain is the most important place again. I've heard so many names of so many places at this point, just get to the fighting already! Hey, that's the exact same time the elves are gonna attack.
We attack at dawn.
That's amazing accidental coordination. Don't you mean Middle-earth eaters? Also, he's referring to the wereworms, which, honestly, I'd rather see how they negotiated to ally with these things rather than them being a surprise later. What do you promise a wereworm when you go to battle? Plenty of earth to eat when Sauron rises again. You like that.
This is a fight they cannot win.
That won't stop them.
Bilbo, you didn't hear that.
This is the halfling who stole the keys to my dungeons from under the nose of my guards.
Yes.
You know what? If this series has one saving grace, it's probably Martin Freeman. I'll take a sin off for this guy, mainly because every time he's on screen, these movies are elevated.
Dragon's sickness seeps into the hearts of all who come near this mountain.
Well, really only 2 guys, but all of them sounds better. Also, let's not forget the very reason why this whole thing happened. Gandalf met with Thorin and told him to retake the mountain, and his vague reasoning was that darker minds would turn their heads toward it, forgetting the fact that everyone was so scared of this damn dragon that no one dared go near it. And the idea of Sauron's return was not even considered possible at the time. I don't know what darker minds Gandalf was thinking about, but none of those assholes could have killed the dragon. It took a well-placed arrow in a rumored weak spot to take that fucker down. But Gandalf was worried enough that he started all this shit. Never once did he seem concerned about Thorin getting dragon sickness, but oh well, gold is evil. I think we all learned something here today. Holy CGI.
I will have war.
Dwarf reinforcements show up at dawn too, making the Lonely Mountain the same distance from everywhere an army might come from. Basically, the Battle of the Five Armies is a recreation on a much larger scale of the Anchorman fight in Anchorman.
Oh, come on!
Character says what everyone in the audience is thinking out loud. Also, it's too bad that in their armor, the dwarves and the orcs look exactly the same, because this is going to be a confusing enough battle as it is. Elves decide to help, but do so in a way that renders the elaborate and elegant dwarf Braveheart wall obsolete. So the elves decide at the last minute to not be total dicks and save the day. I honestly didn't expect that, if only because it's a well Peter Jackson has gone back to so many times he has his mail forwarded there. Spinning! Swords! When we were little, my brother and I used to set up army men on opposite ends of the room, and then take turns shooting marbles at the other guy's army. I feel like that's exactly what Peter Jackson is doing here, only with CGI, and with a great deal more wasted money involved.
My children! Where are my children?
Good fathers are always asking this question. Is this a Roland Emmerich movie?
I saw them! They were down in the old market!
Thanks, random woman! Your amazing knowledge is only surpassed by your amazing hearing in the middle of all this commotion.
The orcs have taken Stone Street! The market's overrun!
Thanks, random man! If the random woman hadn't told Bard where she last saw his family, this news would be completely immaterial. Somehow, beyond all reasonable doubt, Bard either hears these kids or sees them. But considering how he plans to save them in a second, look how f***ing far away he is. Can he really see or hear his family? Or even have the wherewithal in the middle of a battle to look in this direction? Run away! Oh my god. Troll waits an obscene amount of time to kill these kids.
Sigrid! Get down!
Get down? How about get out of the way? Do you know for a fact that this cart's going to leapfrog your kids? They are dead. Movie that loves killing hates any death that is logical.
Take them to the Great Hall and barricade the door.
I can't tell you how many times this movie has made me sigh with frustration. Wait, no, yes I can. 172 and counting.
See that you return. I'll get them to safety, sire.
You can't paint Bard as this savvy Superman hero and then have him miss or ignore evil dude's obvious evilness to the point of entrusting him with the lives of his children.
Out of my way!
Skip!
Abandon the cripples!
Well, I'm starting to think a toddler wrote this script. Or a YouTube comment troll. Again, the elf flies in at the last second to not be a total asshole. Did you make a Scriptatron 3000 machine with various storytelling elements as buttons, and your small child played around with it one day, and you were like, damn, this is pretty good? Because he hit that button twice, and you somehow missed it. Are we winning? Forget it, I don't care. Without this hearing the voices and the dialogue we just f***ing saw in the last scene, the audience would be totally clueless as to Thorin's state of mind.
This treasure will be your death.
Apparently all it takes to get rid of dragon sickness is to think really hard about what an asshole you've become. And a fantasy sequence involving metaphorical gold drowning.
Morgi nak yashtoki.
Azog has been doing nothing but narrate every time we see his dumbass. Every time I see him, I get weary. Not because he's the bad guy I want to see get killed, but because nothing he does or says is interesting enough to make him a worthwhile villain. Thorin luckily comes to his senses at magic hour. That's pretty cool, I guess. But where did they hang this bell from to smash down the barricade? I actually would have preferred to see them rig this up and make it work rather than this dramatic entry into battle. Oh no, 13 more dwarves.
The dwarves, they're rallying.
They turned their baseball caps inside out? Also, that's all the dwarves needed was their king. The massive outnumbering by the orcs had nothing to do with their asses getting kicked before. And considering what we've been told about dwarves and their thirst for battle, what a bunch of bullshit this emotional spark is.
Any man who wants to give their last, follow me!
This whole battle is so confusing. I don't even know why there are people still left to fight the orcs. Last we saw, the elves were getting their asses kicked, and Azog told us the dwarves were pretty much spent. Yet none of these armies look like they have any less numbers than before. How did this turn from a landslide orc victory with massive death on all opposing sides to, well, if we just believe in ourselves, we can beat these guys?
Come with us, love.
No. You leave an old woman.
Alfred does an Eric Idle playing a woman impression. Makes me realize I could have been watching Monty Python instead. Man, the universe just keeps f***ing gift-wrapping opportunities for this guy to be a dick. If there's time to bro-hug during the battle, it's really more of a skirmish of the 5 armies, isn't it?
There's too many of these buggers, Thorin. I hope you've got a plan.
Well, no, I just figured your emotional strength would carry the day.
We're going to take out their leader.
Magic Ram appears out of nowhere the moment Thorin says this. Suddenly, everyone has rams. Their fellow dwarves didn't bring them, and neither did the elves. So who had them?
It's Thorin!
And Dwalin.
Despite the fact that no one can tell who is who, even when they're up close, old-ass Gandalf can figure out who these dwarves are from a distance while they ride magically appearing rams. Why would you dismount the super-fast giant goat of destruction?
Raven.
Thorin is up there. And Philly and Killy, they're all up there.
Oh no, Thorin and the others might only just now be in danger.
Goblin mercenaries. No more than 100. We'll take care of them. Go!
Because 100 goblin mercenaries are no match for 2 f***ing dwarves. Meanwhile, in this cutaway, you'll forget Thorin is horribly outnumbered and should probably be dead around Orc 13 or 14 or so. But the magic of editing will make it so that he wins the battle the movie is cutting away from.
The Master's mantle was there for the taking, and you threw it all away. For what?
Bard's family shows up like a thought bubble to prove a point.
Where is that orc filth?
I don't know. I was too busy forgetting you just took out 100 goblins by your damn selves. Also, another thing I forgot about were those damn wereworms. Those were supposedly going to be a big deal, but they f***ing vanished from the movie as soon as they arrived. Guess they don't give a shit anymore. Plenty of Middle-earth to eat, regardless of who's in charge. Every f***ing helpless person in this movie gets saved at the last second by someone who was previously nowhere near the place. It's not amusing anymore. If you come to expect this kind of thing every time, why is it even filmed like it's supposed to be a surprise? How can it be that every orc is worthless except Azog? Bilbo decides, F my sword and ring, I'll let rocks decide this. Thankfully, I'm the Nolan Ryan of Hobbits. God, Bilbo hasn't missed once. This may actually be the least believable thing about this movie, I think. I'm a battle-crazy orc with some sort of multiple-blade killing instrument in my hands. But for Bilbo, because he's so special to this story, I will not use my weapon in a manner for which it was created. Luckily, this bat's last action on Earth is to fly just long enough to get you to safety. Here, motherfucking happens again. Love story that wasted all our time finally ends in the 3rd movie with 40 minutes left. Skip! Legolas knew if he stabbed this troll in the brain, the troll's brain powers would transfer to his sword. Then he'd be able to make the troll headbutt a tower to form a bridge that is the exact length he needs to cross it. This movie about elves and dwarves is strangely titled The Hobbit. Fight scene has no tension due to previous trilogy's existence. And once again, this troll will wait an obscene amount of time to kill the helpless person in front of him. This shit has an unforgivable level of ex machina that even Harry Potter is dubious of it. Yeah, we won. I'll tell you, this movie has violated me so completely, I'm beginning to mistake this for love. What we saw was so fake that it can't even register as cool or an adrenaline rush. I don't think I could be more offended even if Peter Jackson rode into the theater on a horse and started beating us with that carrot he always eats in these movies. I guess somewhere there's a battle still raging with the dwarves and the other 100,000 orcs that were around here, but none of that matters anymore. Here come the eagles, still clearly worried about those men and their great bows of yew, which would have shot them down if they brought Gandalf and crew closer to the Lonely Mountain. Can't we just admit they only show up when the story calls for it, and let go of all those stupid reasons why they didn't fly them farther in the first movie? Let the hate flow through you! Beorn jumps off the eagle and turns himself into a bear, which allows him to survive this jump. Here's one of the trilogy's smartest moments, and we'd maybe even consider taking a sin off for it. But later, Azog is going to be trapped under the ice and drowning and still come back for another attack. So they waste the smart moment in order to do something dumb later. And I think that's worth 2 goddamn sins, goddammit. I bet you thought after we gave the last thing 2 sins because of this, that we wouldn't sin this, but you're wrong. A live Azog is a sinful Azog. Man, I knew the eagles are dicks, but not one of them could have helped Thorin out here?
The eagles are here.
Yeah, Bilbo is right. The eagles are here. Why aren't they using their healing tears to bring Thorin back to life? Oh, you say that's ridiculous? Welcome to how I felt every time someone got saved in the last minute of this movie.
Go north. Find the Dunedain. There's a young ranger amongst them. You should meet him.
No. Look, I'm already giving lots of leeway here that Aragorn is at least 60 in The Lord of the Rings kicking all that ass. But this bullshit right here is an absolutely ludicrous way to connect the 2 movie trilogies. Hey, go find this kid and be his pal. He's gonna be great one day. I know this because I too saw The Lord of the Rings trilogy. No, wait. Also, why bother to tell your elf son to go find a human boy? Out of all the places and people to suggest he should spend time. You don't even have to read the books to find this offensive in every way. Besides, in Fellowship, it's not until they get to the Council of Elrond that they even meet. Not one scene in that movie suggests they had a long history together. F me right in the beard. Damn, I should have also told him about Frodo. F***. Well, I'm sure he'll meet him someday. Look, I haven't been able to find anything confirming that this is Bryan Cranston, but wouldn't it be just like a f***ing movie to put him here for 5 seconds and then pretend he doesn't exist? You know what the Hobbit could have used? Some damn Bryan Cranston, that's what.
Did you tell the others I said goodbye?
You can tell them yourself.
Because in this movie, everything is on demand. Need someone to save you? Click a button. The eagles soar in. Need to make a point? Click a button. Your family is there.
The borders of the Shire.
Is this a good time to ask whatever happened to Dane, Thorin's cousin? He just kind of disappeared from the movie. He's the new king, right? Oh well.
You don't really suppose, do you, that all your adventures and escapes were managed by luck?
Well, 95% of them were, for sure.
Magic rings should not be used lightly, Bilbo.
I'm definitely not going to investigate this ring that you have for another 60 years, and only after I've almost touched it to see the Eye of Sauron. The fact that Sauron needs a ring to rule the world, and just happened to appear right after our adventure in Gollum's cave, does not make me suspicious in the slightest. Good day. Gandalf is worried now, but will completely forget about this by the time Fellowship comes along. Sin the 13-minute credits? Sin the 13-minute credits.
Do you have a boyfriend?
Winter is upon us!
And winter is coming.
Precious!
I am not alone.
We are going to die!
I am the sword in the darkness. I am the watcher on the walls. I am the shield that guards the realms of men. I place my life and honor in the night's watch. For this night and all the nights to come!
And you have my bow.
And my axe. And I don't like to think what Thorin will do when he finds out what you've done.
I'm not afraid of Thorin.
Yeah.
You will be.
Obviously, if Gandalf had used Squarespace to build a website about his findings and adventures, a lot of things would have gone a lot smoother. Like a Gandalfopedia or something. But being Middle-earth, there is no internet. So naturally, Gandalf somehow forgets everything he learns in this movie about Sauron and the Ring before Fellowship can happen. It's a shame, too. Squarespace would have built him a kick-ass website like they did for us. And Jeff Bridges.
I'm the dude.
If you're in the market for a website, personal or commercial,
Get like all these little clips that we find and that people send each other and stuff like that, and you put it like on one web page.
our pals at Squarespace are offering CinemaSins viewers 10% off. 10%! All you have to do is go to squarespace.com/cinemasins and get started. Pretty darn easy. No fuss, no muss. You might think we only care about the videos and not the business side of things. We actually care a lot about the business side of our strange little beast here. And as someone who's gone through the process of having Squarespace build a new website, I can't say enough good things. We got exactly what we wanted. Our fans are happy, we're happy, and I just really think a lot of you would have the same happy experience. So head over to squarespace.com/cinemasins today and tell them what kind of website dreams they can make reality for you.